What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Dad Bod Pod. I don't feel like doing my whole intro today, so if you're brand new, go check out some of the prior episodes. We're just going to jam. We got Zach, Anthony, and myself in the house today. If you get value out of today's podcast episode or any prior episode, please do us one favor. Take 10 seconds, drop us a quick review. That's what helps the show grow. That's what helps gets the show into the ears of more men who could potentially change their lives. And that's all I got. Let's just dive in. We are doing a Father's Day episode today, and we got Zach and Anthony in the house. We're going to talk about what it means to us to be a dad. So you might want to tune into this because if you're anywhere, no matter where you're at in your health journey, it might be a little bit of gut check time for you. So this is going to be a great episode. What's up, guys? I'm excited for this one, man. This is always a great day and a fun day for me, and I'm looking forward to spending the rest of the day with my kids. We are actually recording this on Father's Day, so I didn't drop that in. But yeah, what's up, guys?
What's up? Doing great. Happy Father's Day, gentlemen.
Yeah, likewise, man.
Happy Father's Day.
This is a day that, it doesn't really, you don't know how much it means until the day comes, right? And then you reflect a little bit on those little individuals that you're responsible for in your lives, and makes the day mean a lot more.
That's really what it is, man. You know, it's funny. I'll start us off right now. Father's Day is supposed to be a day where fathers are celebrated, right? But for me, Father's Day is just a reminder as to the responsibility I decided to take on when I decided to have a kid.
Right.
I don't think about myself when I think of Father's Day. That's why I don't even honestly celebrate the thing. I mean, you guys asked me what I was doing today. I said I'm working.
It seems a little odd, though, right? Like it seems it's almost surreal because when you think about the responsibility you have of your kids, you don't really like when that day is on the calendar. It's just like, oh, it's Father's Day, and I'm used to. I have it in my mind that we usually travel on this weekend. We usually go to my father-in-law's ranch to celebrate Father's Day with him. It's like my wife's dad. So like he's the grandpa of the family. So it's his day, right? I don't ever relate it to me. And when we're out there and they're like, they tell me Happy Father's Day, it really doesn't register. But now we didn't travel this weekend. I'm like, this is my day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Man, like I was saying, dude, I just take today as a reminder to be the best version of myself, man. I just think of it not to celebrate me, but to try to be the best version of me. So when my kid grows up, he could actually want to fill my shoes. Like, I feel like the worst feeling anybody could ever have when it comes to being a dad is that your kid doesn't look up to you to the point where he wants to be like you.
I love
you know
that,
what
man.
I mean?
Yeah. It's powerful.
Every single father should want their kid to follow in their footsteps, man. And if that's not the case, do they really think of you as the superhero that they think you are? Because every kid thinks their dad is a superhero, right?
Yep.
Well, I want to make sure, and I use today as a day to remind me of that, so that I can continue to do what I need to do, so my kid will look up to me forever.
No, that's awesome, dude. I love it. What about you, Anthony?
Yeah, so I got a couple things I did today and try to do on every Father's Day. And it's similar to you, Zach. Like, I don't really look at it as my day. Number one is I celebrate my dad. Like, he's by far the hardest working man I've ever met or known, and I look up to him for that. So I reach out to him, and, we don't talk a lot. We're not, like, real lovey-dovey emotional. Like, that's just not our personality. But it's just a nice text and text back and, love you, appreciate all you do, and that's all he really needs, right? And that's all I need. So that's number one, and realizing that I'm lucky to still have my dad, honestly, because there's a lot of my friends and a lot of other people I know that they've lost their dad at this point in our lives, right? So I think that's huge. And then the other thing I do is I celebrate my kids and my wife, actually, because technically they're the ones that made me the dad, right? Yes, I played a part in it for sure, but so I went out, and I'm not saying this to brag, but for me, it was I went out and bought each one of my wife and each one of my daughter's flowers and wrote them each a card like, hey, thank you for allowing me to be a dad and helping me be a great dad throughout this process. Awesome, and then I wrote a note to each one of my daughters saying, hey, thank you for who you are. And just small notes. Like, it didn't take long, but that's what it is to me, celebrating that. Like, I'm not trying to be the lazy dad that sits there and drinks beer and watches the College World Series and goes
I'm not lazy, but I'm drinking a beer,
like
dude.
Well, no, and no. You know what I mean, though. Like, I'm not celebrating. Yeah, yes, I'm celebrating.
No, I get it, though.
But it's through spending time in appreciation with my dad and my kids for allowing me to be a dad, I guess. So that's how I look at it. And yes, like I said, I played a part in it too, but I don't know. That's just the gratitude and appreciation I've come to I've come to realize over
the
years, right? Because I've been a dad now for 10 years, I guess, already. My daughter's
awesome,
10.
dude.
Our oldest daughter's 10. So pretty crazy.
Well, I
like
tell
that.
you, and I know we're all aligned on this, but I mean, I feel like it's our moral and ethical obligation as well as responsibility to make our health a priority. Not only just to lead by example, but to be around long term for our kids. At the end of the day, I mean, you talk about grandpa goals often, right? And we can all relate. We want to be strong and active into our older years, but I mean, think about I want to be around, and I'm an older dad. I mean, you said you've been a dad for 10 years. I've been a dad for a little over 6, and I'll be 42 this year, but I still have visions of being a part of my grandkids' lives, right? I have a 10-month-old right now, and I would still, I'm going to be 42. So having a 10-month-old, that means I'm going to have to be alive for quite a while to be able to see his kids. And like, dude, I very much want to be able to do that. And so I think not only making my health a priority to lead by example, because I love what you said, Zach. At the end of the day, if my son doesn't want to be like me, that's the worst possible example that I could set for him. I want him to look up to me physically. I want him to want to be strong like dad. I want him to want to eat healthy and live an active lifestyle like dad. I don't want him to be a video game kid. And I know there's a lot of dads out there who live behind the couch and play video games with their kids. That is not bondage to me, man. Like you want to do that for 10, 15 minutes on the weekends, cool. But like, I want to be outside kicking the soccer ball or throwing the football or like doing things with my kids that I know, like I'm showing them what it's like to be a leader, but also live the active lifestyle that I expect them to live and continue to live on. I'm not raising you to be, a childhood obesity statistic. I'm raising you to be a strong kid that wants to lead by example for his kids. Right. And I mean, I know we're all aligned with that, but dude, it's an emotional topic for me because of all the sad things that I've seen happen to dads out there who didn't make their health a priority.
And that's the key that you said, and you could just kind of wrap it all up into that nice bow. Like we have to show them, not tell them, right? So showing them the way versus, because you're telling them, but then if you're not living what you're telling, like, it goes nowhere. Like they don't trust you. They know better. Like, thanks, Dad, but you're not doing what you're saying. It's the old adage, like, do what I say, not what I do. Well, that doesn't work.
Yeah,
like that's not how it's going to work, right? So I love that you said that, for sure.
And I think kids are about 5 times smarter than we think they are, right? Like,
absolutely.
Every
100%.
one of our children is significantly smarter than we give them credit for. And they're like 100%. Sponges. They just soak up onto this. And kids are going to do what you do way before they do what you say, right? I can tell my kid to do something all day long, but if I'm the guy that's eating chips and watching Netflix and I want my son to go out and ride his bike till the street light comes on, I'm dating myself, but that's what I live by, right? If that's what I want to take place and I'm the guy that's watching Netflix, something's not aligned there. And like you said, they see right through it, and they're gonna call bullshit every time. Oh, right, you want me to play and be active while you're in here eating pizza and like gaining weight and becoming more and more miserable with yourself.
Yeah, dude. So
and
when
watching.
Ace was born,
for sure.
When Ace was born, right, I actually did a cut leading up to his birth because just like you guys, I agree. They're going to do what we do, not what we say.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. And even though Ace, he wouldn't know. The kid's just born. He's minutes old.
But in your mind, dude, it's like dad time, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And what I did was I did a cut leading up to my kid's birth because I wanted to be in optimal shape when my kid saw Earth, right? Mm-hmm. And it wasn't about him knowing, it was about the principle, right? I didn't want my kid to be born to a hypocrite because like you guys are saying, they're going to do what we do, not what we say. And I wanted to start that immediately, even though he wasn't even conscious of my efforts that I was putting forth. I just wanted to make sure he was not born into to a hypocrite and that I was living exactly what I preach. So I'm going to continue to do that. And I'm going to continue to set this example so that he sees it as fun. He sees it as this is what's normal. He sees it as this is what I want to do, you know, and he just ultimately he can continue to grow up and be the best version of himself through every single year of his life growing up. I don't want him to have to hit some kind of epiphany moment and be like 27 and be like, I think it's time for me to be the best version of myself. I want him to realize that he should be making strides towards that every single day.
You know what I love about your story?
I want to set out.
You know what I love about your story, Zach, is you let yourself get fat to get married, But when you had a kid, it was like, all right, well, fuck, I'm the
It
dad
wasn't
now.
on purpose, all right?
It's time to
It
get
wasn't.
fit.
It wasn't on purpose.
Uh-oh.
I'll tell you that.
Don't tell
It
mama.
was
Don't tell
a
mama.
series of bad decisions. All right.
Yeah,
That's
a
funny.
series of series.
I didn't think of
I
that.
understand. No, that's awesome, dude. No, I love it. And your perspective is spot on. I mean, at the end of the day, man, like those guys mean the world to me. And I know that nobody's promised tomorrow, but I'm going to do everything that I can to extend my life so that I can continue to be a part of their lives. It's not just, you know, we could talk about leading by example. We can talk about being around long-term, but like I've seen guys die in the ICU with their kids right there in the ICU room, hoping and praying dad was going to pull through. And like, when we're putting the dad in a body bag, right? Like this is some visual graphic shit, but like when you're putting a dad in a body bag and you watch mom and like family swarm away and like now it's time to grieve, in my mind, like there's nothing more precious than being a part of my kid's life. Like you made the commitment to be a dad. You're the one who chose to do that. There's not a guy on this planet Earth that doesn't know where kids come from. Like, yeah, you might have had an accident, but now it's your responsibility. And it doesn't matter, you know, how that kid came into the world. You're dad, man. And like there's nothing more in my life that means more to me than that. My wife is my best friend, but my kids, like you guys, man, like that's your blood, and that's who's going to carry on my last name. And I take that so seriously.
And here's the other thing too, like that people don't realize. It's not easy to be a dad in terms of like not only being the dad and the role model, but also like not everybody is it easy for them to have kids. Like we went through our struggles with having kids. Like that part of it, like I'm very open about that because it makes me appreciate it that much more. And the dads that take it for granted and like, oh, you punk kids and this and that. And they're like, oh, my kid's a jerk and all this. I'm like, don't ever say that about your kid. Are you kidding me? Like there's so many people out there that would love to be able to even have kids.
If your kid's a jerk, that's on you, dude.
I was about to say that.
Exactly right.
If your kid's a jerk, that's a reflection of you.
I see it all the time.
It's sad.
I see it all the time how they treat their kids out in public.
Dude.
Like, it's insane.
I seen so I made a post. And somebody commented about how it was about, okay, so guys, it was about responsibility and not being one of those people who like leave things in the grocery stores in the wrong place, especially perishables. And somebody said the only time it's kind of acceptable, like, is like when it's a kid. And I'm like, that's not acceptable because what people don't realize is kids' behaviors are just extensions of our own. People don't realize that. And when they allow their kids to, you know, to act in a certain way, be lazy, not put things back, not apologize, not look people in the eye, not just all those things that we're expected to do of ourselves. When our kids don't do that, that's our fault. That is our fault because they are just mini
100%.
us.
It's a reflection
and
of you.
Goes back to the leading by example, dude. Like if you're doing that, you're going to do that. It's 100%. They do what you do. They don't say they're not going to follow what you say. They're going to follow what you do.
Yes. And
if you're the guy that does that and your kid's doing that, that's 100%.
You can't blame the kid.
No,
blame your own self.
No. And you brought up a little bit of a controversial post. So I know we talked about this on the live stream and I want to touch on it real quick here because people are still a little bit triggered by that. So I did a post that just said, the number of, I don't remember it word for word, but it was something like this. The number of men who have accepted being fat and out of shape as a normal part of life is sad. What happened to owning your shit and being a man, right? And it triggered some people. Like some guys came in and were like, hey, you know, being a man and being healthy, they're not in the same. And I'm thinking to myself, like, dude, you don't even know what you just said. Like owning your shit and being a man means making your health a priority. There's no more important asset in your life, right? Your kids are there, your wife, your spouse, your significant other. I don't care if you're gay, your boyfriend, your husband. Doesn't matter. They're there, but your ultimate responsibility is your health, first and foremost, all right? And so there was some triggered people. And the triggered people were the ones that took the gut punch, the gut check, and realized that hurt a little bit, probably because it meant something to them. Mm-hmm. The ones who were not triggered realized that playing that victim mentality is not going to get you anywhere. And the majority of the people on the post agreed with me, right? They're like, you know that if you're not healthy, that's on you. If you're 50 pounds overweight, it's your fault. Now, are there some extreme circumstances? Sure. There was a couple of people on there. Like one guy talked about, hey, I used to work out all the time with my friend. He committed suicide. I got depressed. I got fat, but then I refound myself. Well, you didn't accept it, dude. You refound yourself and you created a new life, a better version of you, right? You didn't accept it. That was specifically meant to the people out there who have accepted it as a normal part of life, the victim mentality, saying, well, my whole family's fat. I'm just meant to be fat. Well, rounding back to the Father's Day, if that's you, Dad, and you're listening right now, you are not meant to be fat. You're meant to be a better version of you. And it's time for you to wake up and start working on a better version of you, because the people that were triggered on that post were the people that needed to hear that shit.
Boom.
And the people,
and the podcast,
and the people that
there you go.
Probably.
Boom.
Well, the only thing I'd add is, like, we got to wait until it's too late. Till the doctor says, hey, you're at a severe health risk, or hey, we've got serious problems here. And we got to think ahead. Like, we plan ahead. Like, it's a goal. It's got to be like, why are we waiting until we're sick before we take this stuff seriously? Like, until you can prevent so much of this stuff, and you just put a little bit of effort, a little bit of work, having a little bit of discipline, knowing what choices you want to make, and again, knowing what your identity is. We've talked about it on numerous podcasts.
100%.
Knowing who you are.
We will continue to talk about it. That's it.
Absolutely, because it needs to be, needs to be, unfortunately, beaten into some skulls in some cases.
The bottom line is this, right?
The bottom
line, life is challenging no matter how you chalk it up.
Sure.
It's going to be challenging regardless. You can be fat, out of shape, miserable, on multiple medications with multiple chronic conditions. Life is challenging. Or you can be fit and healthy, have to go to the gym, have to force yourself to drink water, have to force yourself to eat healthy, but feel good all the time, have to force yourself to do all these things so you can have better sex, so you can be around long term for your kids. And guess what? Life is still fucking challenging, dude. No matter which way you go, it's challenging. So at the end of the day, it just comes down to making that one decision. Do I want to live the hard fat life or the hard fit life? It's pretty simple.
Choose your hard.
Not easy.
We've talked about it before. Choose your hard.
That's it.
Yep.
One set of behaviors is going to have a positive byproduct, a set of byproducts actually that are great.
Compounding over time. Yeah.
Compounding. Yeah.
That's
compounding
right.
Amazing byproducts. And then the other one is not the latter. Sorry. It's worse. It's the one that's going to be full of health ailments.
This is also going to compound.
It's one that's going to be full of lack of self-confidence, self-worth. It's going to be embarrassment from the spouse. It's all kinds of things, guys. And you guys know who you are. And like, I love the post that you made, because it's not about raising up controversy to stir the pot. It's about, and we come from a place of love all the time, right?
We wear, all three of us wear our hearts on our sleeves. That's it.
That gut check that we give these guys,
might do that to a fault, but we wear our hearts on our sleeves.
For sure. And that gut check that we give people, it's a friendly gut check, man. Believe it or not. Some people are going to be triggered, but you have to understand that if you're one of those people who are triggered, that means it holds some degree of truth. Now, there's going to be two kinds of people. They're going to be people that's going to take that gut shot, regain their breath, and be like, it's time to change. Or there's going to be the people that are the excuse makers, that are never going to be able to become the best version of themselves, because they can never accept responsibility for where they are. Because everything is your fault, whether it's bad or good. Everything is your fault.
And until you are willing to accept that, you're going to continue to live a life full of lies, right?
Absolutely. And
you own your responsibility. Accept 100% responsibility for your health, your life, everything involved in it. And as soon as you do that, your life will become simpler, because then now you have a plan. Now you know what needs to be done. But until you do that, you're living in denial, and that's it.
Absolutely, dude. There's a lot of people out there and the reason why obesity is becoming such a normalcy is because there's so many people out there that want to take 100% responsibility for their wins, but they will not take responsibility for their losses. They will put it on others. They will blame everything, all kinds of circumstances, but they will not accept that they did not do what needed to be done to get where they want to be.
100%. 100%, dude. If that's you, if this episode resonated with you, man, go into the show notes right now and click that link, grab some spot on our calendar. If you need help, like if this message hurts you a little bit, if you feel that pain deep inside, click the link in the comments, man, or in the show notes. Grab a spot on our team's calendar. We'll talk to you about what it potentially would look like to work with us, and we're going to get some resources into your hand to help you move forward. We know that these type of episodes are what hurt us when we were at our worst. Hearing this kind of stuff is what hurt us when we were, when I was 60 pounds overweight, when Zach was 50 pounds. I don't even know that Anthony admits how much he was overweight, but his pictures pretty scary at one point. Yeah. The reality is, man, this is the messaging that I needed to hear when I was at my worst, because I would have gotten it together a hell of a lot sooner, and would have had more years of health on my side had I heard this messaging.
And here's the thing, tough love is still love. And a lot of people need tough love, but it's still coming from a place of love. And we know that that's what a lot of people need. So that's why we do it, right? If it could be just normal love, then we would do that too. And sometimes it's both, but tough love is still coming from a place of love, because we want,
it's not drill sergeant love, right?
That's right. No,
it's right. Because we care, man. And like at the end of the day, again, I think we wear our hearts on our sleeves to a fault. But ultimately, man, like that's what makes our culture so strong, because our men feel our love, and that's it. Like whether it's a pat on the back because you did really well, or it's, hey, get your shit together because you need to hear that. It all comes from a place of love, and I think that's why we're so aligned. So I love it, man. And you guys had anything else you want to add for this Father's Day episode before we close shop? Man, I think this was a great episode. And I know a lot of guys are going to get a lot of value out of this.
This is one of my favorite ones, to be honest, man. This was very impactful and very powerful. And I think there is absolutely nobody who will listen to this and not feel some kind of emotional pull towards wanting to agree with you 100%. Better, man. So,
and if I'm being transparent, I'm going to go back and listen to it, because there were some things that we talked about today that even made me rethink the importance of being a dad and what my role is as a father, really, because my kids I have a 6 and a 10-month-old. I got a lot of time left with kids, and I'm always looking to be better. And I know you guys are too.
Yeah. If I could leave these guys with one final thought, it's going to be me reiterating what I said earlier, man. Like, the worst feeling that I can ever feel is my kid doesn't want to be exactly like me. So I'm just going to continue to push forward, continue to do what I need to do, continue to make the sacrifices and investments that I need to make into myself to be the best version of me, so that my kid just wants to be exactly like me. That would be the ultimate win for me as a father, when my kid is just like, I want to be like my dad, exactly like him when I grow up, because he's a winner.
I love that.
You know?
I love it. You know, and I have the same desire. And in my mind, if my kid can be as good as me and even better, like that's where the magic happens. So if the bar, we talk about raising the floor a lot. If the floor is me and he wants to be at least me, then I feel like I've won as a dad, right?
Yeah, love it, man. Love it.
Awesome.
Well, and for me, being the dad of daughters, real quick.
Yeah, no, of course. Look, we want to hear from you.
You're the girl dad.
So, I'll throw that in there too. Like, my role is the most important man in my daughter's life until she finds the man that she wants to be. So I have to emulate and show her what kind of a man that she wants to spend her rest of her life with when that point comes, right? So that's what it boils down to for me.
That's awesome.
Absolutely being that super dad, but I have to show her, not tell her, but show them like what kind of a man that they deserve, right? And that they should want. So that's the
I love that.
Awesome perspective, man.
And when I love that, because you just gave me an idea for another show, but I want to add this one last thought to that, because there is a lot of, I think there's a lot of science and a lot of studies out there that show that women typically try to, are drawn towards men with similar traits as dad. And you want to lay that foundation early, so that they're looking for the respect and the courage and what you're teaching your girls at a young age, man. And I think that's such a great thing to aim for.
And even with sons, right? Like, we have to teach our sons by example how women should be treated.
100%.
Because me and you, Jason, we're the guy dads, right? We have kids. I'm gonna have more kids. I don't know if they're gonna be guys or girls yet, but
I'm kind of hoping for a girl, so we have some more.
There you go. Then you got to do both sides. But yeah, as fathers to kids, guys, guys specifically, we got to teach our kids how to treat women, because they're gonna see how we interact with our wives, right? So, hey, man, it works both ways. We just got to set the example and do exactly how we want them to act, right?
Love it.
That's it.
For sure.
No, this is a great episode, man. You guys, hopefully you guys got a lot of value out of today's episode. Have a fantastic week. If you got value, take 10 seconds. Just drop us a quick review. We'll see you back next week. Again, have an awesome week. Take care.